This video is a test of the NEEWER CM10 lavalier microphone used with the HDZero FPV goggles. The purpose is to evaluate how well this external microphone performs when connected to the goggle's 3.5mm audio input. The CM10 has two onboard settings, a gain control switch with 0 dB and -10 dB options, and a high-pass filter that can be turned on or off. I'll be testing each combination of these settings. All recordings were made under consistent conditions with no post-processing, to provide a clear reference for anyone considering this mic as an upgrade for recording DVR audio. The best audio quality by far comes from using a completely external recorder. That could be a smartphone with a voice memo app or something like a dedicated audio recorder. If you clap at the start of the flight, you can later use that spike as a sync point between the DVR footage and your external audio. This method gives you the cleanest results, but it does require extra steps and post-processing. Hopefully the CM10 can provide a good middle ground between convenience and audio quality. Before getting into the external mic testing, I wanted to briefly show how the internal mic of the HDZero goggles sound. There are no gain control settings, so sometimes it's okay when you're speaking in a low voice, but as soon as you raise your voice, it becomes a distorted mess. Now this is the NEEWER CM10 lavalier microphone. It's mounted about halfway up my lanyard for my radio. I have it hooked on nicely so that it's a little heavy, but it's kind of convenient. Now this is with some post-processing, particularly taking out that high frequency tone that you hear. I think I was able to get it out pretty well. This is the same setup, but with the high pass filter turned off. I find that there's a lot more boominess that you just don't need, and turning the high pass filter seems to clear it up a lot. And this is with the high pass filter on and the gain setting set to -10 dB. Now I'm going to turn it up in post so that it's a similar volume to the other clips. And that's what that sounds like. I just find that since you need to turn it up, it adds extra unwanted noise, so you might as well run it at the 0 dB option. The 0 dB doesn't seem to clip at all, so that's perfectly fine to run it at. There's no need to turn it down if you're just going to turn it back up in post. So I do think that the NEEWER CM10 can be a viable option if you're looking for something that's convenient, that'll get you some better audio quality instead of just the built-in microphone, because in my opinion that is like completely unusable if you're trying to make content for people. If you're serious about it, the best way to do it is, of course, to use an external recorder, but sometimes you just want to go out with your regular stuff and you don't have to worry about post-processing. My biggest gripe with it is that the cable is almost 20 feet long. I find that if you're good with your cable management and you keep it where it needs to be, it's not that big of a problem. Of course, if they sold it with a shorter cable, that would be perfect. I am not sponsored by NEEWER. I just found this on Amazon and thought that it may be a good option. I'd say personally I don't bring it out every time that I fly, but if I'm doing something fun and I want to have good audio, I have it with me so I can plug it in. I will be running it with the high pass filter on and the gain set to 0 dB. I do think there are some cases where you'll want to go down to -10 dB if you're being awfully loud or maybe you're in a noisy environment. Although that adds quite a bit of noise to the recording, which is obviously not ideal.